Hey, YouTube! So today I want to show you how to cast urethane rubber into a silicone mold. This is a great way to produce copies of anything you want. That can be toys, or small sculptures, or jewelry, or you can replicate one item that's really precious to you. It's totally up to you, and you're going to learn how to do it right now. So today we're going to use a two-part liquid urethane rubber by Smooth On, along with their So Strong urethane pigments and silicone molds in order to produce two neat little jewelry items. Now, one of these molds I made myself, and one of these I bought from an Etsy seller. You can go out and buy pre-made silicone molds if you want. Lots of people do it, and there's nothing wrong with it. You can also make them yourself. I just did a video last week showing how to make your own silicone mold, so check that out if you want to learn. So we're going to need a few things to get started here. First, our urethane rubber, our molds, and a scale for weighing out the rubber, some clean mixing containers as well. We also need to treat these molds with a mold release. The urethane probably won't stick to them, but a mold release is always a good idea, and it can extend the life of your mold. So with every two-part solution, you have to find out what the mixing ratio is. In this case, it's 2A to 1B. Which means I need twice as much of part A as I do of part B. Make sure to zero your scale with the measuring container on it so that you're not including the weight of the container with the weight of the rubber. Okay, so now that I have my two parts, it's time to mix them, and I'm going to do that by pouring them both into another container together. This helps to ensure that they get a complete mix. And it's basically that easy. All you have to do is measure properly and mix thoroughly. So I want to go ahead and add in some color. So I'm going to take some of this that I've already mixed and put it into another container here. And that is going to get white pigment. So I'm going to take that with my stirring stick here, sort of drip it into this mold. Since this is a cameo style, I'm trying to fill in the area of the figure and not of the background, because cameos usually have that sort of two-toned style to them. This time I'm going to use purple. So it's going to be a very opaque color now. Now we're probably going to get some color mixing because of that, the way I just poured it in while the lower layer was still wet. If you really want to be certain that the colors don't mix, you should wait until that first color has set up more before you put in another one. So I can reuse the batch of white rubber that I mixed earlier, that I had excess of, if I mix in another stronger color with it. That's what I've done here with yellow. So I've ended up with some extra rubber here. I overestimated how much I would need, and that happens sometimes. So I prepared a few extra molds just in case. You can see that now that the rubber is starting to set, it's a little bit more viscous than it was before. It doesn't flow quite the same. Isn't that a gorgeous shiny black though? Gosh, it's like tar. It's like that tar monster that killed Tasha Yar. Okay, so now we're back. The rubber has had time to cure completely. I got really excited and demolded the black rubber from the skull mold. Here it is. How cool is that? So now we have the other 3 molds here, and we'll go ahead and pull these out and see how they came out. I'm gonna start here with the commercial mold. This was the little cameo. And see, that turned out pretty darn well. We got a little bit of color mixing, just like I thought might happen, but that's okay. I think that looks fine. If you really wanted to, you can take a lot of measures to keep these 2 colors completely separate, but I'm very happy with that as it is. So next up is this mold that I made myself, Ganesh, I believe. And see, there's that. And then with the excess, I had poured into this. This was just for the extra. So now I have sort of a cool little octopus coin here. So that's how easy this is. All you have to do is have a mold, mix your rubber, and pour it in. And then it comes out perfect and looking gorgeous. So what would you do with these now, you might be wondering? Well, if this is a small sculpture, you could go ahead and paint it or do any finishing work that you wanted to do. And one thing that you could do is possibly turn that into a bracelet. For a piece of jewelry, like either one of these, you can take one of these pin backs, which you can buy from many craft and hobby stores or jewelry supply places, and you can simply attach it to the back of the cameo. So now that this has had time to dry, little super glue held that thing on there nicely, that little pin back. That's all it takes. And see, I'm stylish AF now.